Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we connect to the internet once a week to make sure we're still authorized to do this podcast. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I'm always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. A few weeks ago was my husband's birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and one of his friends got him a candle for his birthday,
Okay.
which was like
Uh-huh.
really nice. It looked like a really nice candle. It came in like a really like beautiful box.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Fragrant?
here's the rub.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to like poke the bear on this one.
It's like weaponized potpourri is how
yeah.
I would describe it.
Yeah.
And I think that again, like it's absolutely
It's a thoughtful gift. We're not
it's
disparaging
absolutely
the idea of the
thoughts
gift.
that
Yes.
counts.
Yeah.
So we had it in. So we opened it up, and
Yeah.
immediately you're like, "That's a fragrant candle."
Right.
And we put,
And I assume as you're opening it up, it's not already lit.
no, it is not
Okay,
already
all
lit.
right.
Yeah, that's right. It is an unlit candle in a box.
Mhm.
And we put it in the bathroom, and we put the box in like the recycle bin in our kitchen, and that's in like a little drawer. And then the next time, first of all, it lasts in the bathroom for like 5 minutes because I'm like, I can't handle this.
Right. It's too much.
It's too much. So it goes in my husband's office, which is bad because now you like open the office door
Sure.
and it's like aggressively floral.
Yeah.
Like eye-wateringly floral in the office.
It's like walking into the candle corner at
but,
Pier 1.
But
yeah.
I think that like he has become accustomed to it. So
Oh, no.
I
Oh,
so
no, Mark.
I don't so like I think he's like I
You've
don't
got to
see-
take
I don't
action
see
here.
what the problem is. But it's like so scented. I guess what I would say is it's a candle who doesn't know its own strength. Like it's too powerful.
Yeah, no, I think you landed on it. Weaponized potpourri. I think that's. I
So,
think you nailed it.
We had the box in the recycle
Uh-huh.
bin in the kitchen in a drawer. We like opened the drawer to throw the trash away, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like a flower bomb went off in the recycle
Right,
thing. So
right.
it's like, okay, great. Now we have to. I'll just put it into the recycled bin outside.
Right.
The scent doesn't go away from the recycle bin
This
inside.
is like that episode of Seinfeld with the cabbie and the bo.
It is this person got their money's worth from this candle.
Sure. Well, that's Mark. There was something I was going to share with you, but you've just blown me away with this candle story.
Well, I would love to hear it.
Okay. So this is just a little thing. This is a silly little thing Sarah and I were doing this evening while making dinner.
Oh, uh-huh.
We were singing "Yo Ho Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me," and like just doing like silly little voices, and then I landed on what Babu Frick would sound like if he were a pirate. It just goes "Yo Ho."
That is very good. Can I say something maybe controversial?
Sure.
I don't think Babu Freak's cute.
What? Well, okay. Even his hey. You don't think that's cute?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that's wrong. If you'd like to support our show, even though half of us are wrong, you can go to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society and check out what we have to offer there in terms of thank yous, rewards for supporting us at the 8-bit and 16-bit tier. We are currently working our way through a mini series that we are calling NCS Detective Club, where we are watching the great detective stories of television history and then talking about them for like 2 hours or so. So far, we have done Murder, She Wrote. We have done Monk. We have done Diagnosis Murder. And coming up very soon for April, we are doing Psych, a show that neither of us have seen before, and we're both very excited to dip in.
Yeah, so if that sounds fun to you, you can check out the Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our current subscribers. And thank you so much to all of you for listening.
Yes, of course, that's a huge part of this. Thank you to everyone who supports. Thank you to everyone who listens, which is its own kind of support. Thank you for all you do. Also, if you would like to get into our Discord and have conversations with us about Nintendo stuff, basically all the time, it's always popping off. People are always talking about stuff. You can send us an email, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and we will send you an invitation to the Discord. It is invite only, so it is just kind of a cool, positive place where, like I said, people are having fun conversations about Nintendo stuff all the time. Mark, would you like to get into our topic today? We are discussing and drafting the ultimate NSO.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this question sort of comes from our Discord. One of the users in there, Antons, said that he had received an email from Nintendo, the sort of like survey being like, how is your experience with Nintendo Switch Online, and what other features would you want to see it as part of it? Which got us thinking, like, yeah, and last week we talked about what games should come to the Game Boy Advance library, and that's a very that's a very comfortable space for us to be in, right? Of like, what other games should come to the library? And the answer is invariably all of them, right? We just want all the games.
Wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt to have all the games. But Nintendo Switch Online is a weird beast because in some ways it is very similar to other online services where like you get the ability to save your game data to the cloud. You can play with people online, like all these sort of normal features that are part of like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, all that kind of stuff. But there are also like Nintendo Switch Online has all these other features. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of review what the existing features are, and then we are going to pitch features that we would like to see coming to this thing, and then we are going to go back and forth like fantasy football draft style, drafting to see who can pick out the better Nintendo Switch Online from the list of existing features and dream features that we're adding.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So maybe we just start with like a little bit of like an overview of like what our relationships to Nintendo Switch Online is, what our relationships are, I guess. I know I subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online the second it was available, and partially because that was it came with the NES library, and I was interested to start playing those classic games on my Switch. But also just because, like, I'm a Nintendo fan, and just like I'm just gonna be there day one for most stuff. If it's like the mainline what they're doing, like consoles or what have you, like I'm kind of just gonna be there. But is that largely your experience with it too?
Yeah, totally. Because, you needed it to play online games
True.
after a certain point. So, and, for $20, if for an individual membership, seemed totally worth it. Like you said, NES. And when you talk about it that way,
It's $20 for a year. By the way.
sorry, $20 for a year.
Yeah.
But so when you talk about it that way,
It's like $1.70 a month.
well, not just that, but it's like, oh yeah, when this thing launched, there really wasn't much more to it than that.
Mhm.
And now you're paying that same, like the cost has remained the same for an individual yearly membership of $20, but they've added quite a bit to it over, the last few years.
Right. And then, of course, when they introduced the expansion pack, that they up the price to $50 a year, which is still way cheaper than you're going to be spending on any of the other like competitors online services. And at this point has a library of almost 200 games, plus all these other services, plus access to DLC of various stripes, and all of the like. I don't know. For me, it seems like a no-brainer deal of like, oh yeah, if I'm gonna play any of these Nintendo 64 games, if I'm gonna play any Game Boy game, even for like a little bit, Plus, it includes Tetris 99, my game of the year every year since it came out. So like, it's just I'm always very excited about improvements and changes to Nintendo Switch Online. And like, really, the only thing that I want from it, like, really, the only thing I want is like a more reliable network. Right? Like, I
Do you
want.
mean for multiplayer?
Yeah, I want to be able to just like pop in for it to be fast, for it to not drop games. But also like, is that just not is that the world we live in? Like, I don't even know if that's possible, right?
Right. Well, no, I mean, I think that
It should be
that's
possible.
a reasonable expectation. Yeah, for online games.
For it to just work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and will that be one of my sort of like dream things? Like, who knows? But so Mark, I've broken down what features are currently part of the Nintendo Switch Online, and we will need to determine which of these like stand alone as like a feature, or if anything needs to be like bundled or broken out or whatever.
Right. Yeah. What needs to be the draftable pieces?
Right.
For the end of the episode. Yeah.
So one of the first features, I guess, was the first one that I mentioned, but is also one of the first ones that they advertised, was cloud saves. Before they had Nintendo Switch Online, if your saves were on your Switch and your Switch broke or bricked or got stolen, your save data was gone. So it's an important feature, but one that feels like kind of table stakes now. Like, I feel like everything has like cloud backup stuff, right? I mean, you pay for it though. Like, you pay for it on like your iPhone and probably everything else, but I don't know. That feels like table stakes to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So the second feature is online play, which again also sort of feels like table stakes for an online service. So I don't know if those two go together, or if we automatically, as we're drafting them, we automatically get both of those.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think it could be more interesting where you have to choose potentially.
Sure. Okay. So online play is something that only one of us is going to be able to draft.
I believe that is true.
Okay, we're going to have to figure out like a workaround for something, because like, if someone gets Tetris 99 and someone else gets online play,
Right.
Are you able to play Tetris 99 online?
Well, can we exchange? Can we like trade draft picks?
Maybe.
So it's like, oh,
maybe
you want
we can
Tetris
trade draft
99
picks.
one? Well, maybe you can get my first draft pick for 2 of your later draft picks, so you can get Tetris 99 online play. We'll see how it goes. I'm a hard negotiator.
Yeah,
so
I can tell. I'm stressed out already. The next thing on here is the so the Nintendo Switch Online app, which includes the Splatnet 2, Splatnet 3, the Super Smash Bros. App, and the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nook Link.
Plus the voice chat capability.
So that's voice chat. That's an important part of that. So that's all part of the Nintendo Switch Online app. Next feature is do we want to just like touch on, because this one I feel like is a little more specific, and I feel like pretty ill implemented on Nintendo's part. Like, or at least I never use it.
Which part?
The Nintendo Switch Online app.
Yeah, I don't really use it either. I feel like every time there's a game that includes functionality like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I remember kind of messing around with looking at the different stages that have been created for it.
Yeah.
I've opened Splatnet for Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 like a couple of times. I don't really remember using it for Animal Crossing. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, my personal I remember you and I have like messed around with the voice chat before.
Yeah.
But, if we were playing online, there's so many other ways for us to connect for voice chat.
Right. Well, and usually we're like texting each other to be like, okay, are you in the app now?
Right. Yeah.
So like, we're already communicating. We may as well just call each other.
So, my experience is that I don't really mess around with the app that much, but I would love if there are listeners who, have found elements of it really engaging, or who do use it a lot. I would love to hear that perspective as well.
Next up is just a sort of umbrella category, which is just special offers. Currently, the game vouchers are in there, so the ability to buy 2 games for $100. Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99, Super Mario Brothers 35, at least for the period that they were celebrating Mario's
R.I.P..
35th anniversary. That's right.
R.I.P. SMB.
That's RIP SMB 35. In-game rewards. Every now and then there's something that like you get an extra item. Animal Crossing New Horizons, you got a rug. The rewards and missions, like ways to earn platinum points by, like opening ice climbers or whatever. And then game trials.
And then I guess the other piece that maybe we could include in here are like the special emblems that you can exchange like platinum points for.
Yeah, well, and I think that might be part of the rewards and missions.
Okay,
Like
got it.
the missions are
sure.
get
Yes.
yeah. Mission is open a game, and I guess the reward for that is the platinum points, but then you spend the platinum points on the icons and emblems.
So for my money, I think we could break out special offers like I think Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99, and in-game or in like game trials, I would say are discrete pieces, and then everything else would just be bundled under special offers.
So are we taking like Super Mario Brothers 35 out of this entirely? Because it's a limited time thing, does not currently exist on the platform.
Yeah, that's why I almost included in like special offers because it's
sure.
like a limited time thing that like popped up. But I don't think either of us would want to waste a draft pick on Super Mario Brothers 35
because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take. Honestly, I think just Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99 are their own thing. I would want to leave the game trials out as their own, or out as still part of special offers.
Okay.
And the game trials, again, that's when they let you play like as much of a game as you can for one specific week.
Right. You have access to like the full game, and
Yeah.
usually it's on sale if you want the whole thing. But I think Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99 should be
They're two separate items.
draftable things.
Okay. All right. This is already getting tough. I think I got to go back to online play has to be table stakes. I think we both get online play.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, because
That's fair. No,
otherwise
you're
so
right.
many of the features
You're right.
don't make any sense.
You're totally right.
Although, let's talk about special offers for a second, because one thing that I don't really have included on here, special offers also sort of includes the physical controllers that you can buy for these things.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's even a separate line item, right? That is just special physical offers.
Yeah.
Colon the option to buy video game or classic game controllers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. At which point we now pivot into the Nintendo Switch Online classic game libraries. So the NES, the Super NES, the Game Boy, the Nintendo 64, the Sega Genesis, and the Game Boy Advance. Those are each separate draftable items.
Yes.
And there's no reason to break them up further or to bundle any of them
I
or
don't
anything
think
like that.
so.
Okay, great. Mark, I agree. So I don't think we have to say too much more about that. And then there's the DLC packs. So the DLC that's currently available just like for freezies or as part of your subscription to the Nintendo Online Plus expansion pack are Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion, Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Booster Course Pass. I don't think it makes sense to split those up.
Yeah, I agree.
They all go together. And especially when like at this point they're just like bonuses. They're like if you draft it and I still want to have access to the Booster Course Pass, I can just spend the $25 and get the Booster Course Pass.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now, Mark, we're going to start making up features here.
Yes.
And I have 6 that I'm ready to contribute, but I'm also I'm worried that we may have some
I
overlap.
think we may have some crossover, but I also have 6.
Hey, if we end up adding 12 to this and we have no overlap,
or
I suspect we
maybe
will.
we
Only
just
add 6? Yeah,
because it's all overlap.
That's all possible.
We continue to share one brain cell.
Well, if we're lucky. Mark, would you like to go first or would you like to go second?
I
would like you to go first.
Okay.
I always give you the option, but this time I thought, nah. Mark's coming out swinging here.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with one that's a little bit boring.
This is boring.
But I think it would be great if it was easier to invite friends to games from the Switch system menu.
Yes.
So, and I'm counting this as Nintendo Switch Online because it involves like online functionality. Even though it really is more of like a system settings thing.
Yeah.
But, currently the Nintendo Switch doesn't have any way for you to be like on the system, looking at your friends, seeing that, like Patrick is online. I'm just going to invite Patrick to a game. You have to, every game kind of has their own way for you to start to invite friends.
Yes.
And I feel like it's functional, but that one of the things I personally really miss from, PlayStation, and I'm sure Xbox has the same thing. I just haven't owned an Xbox since the 360 era. Is like the ability to have like groups of friends and just go to that group and like invite people directly from the system menu.
Yeah.
That feels really like I do really miss that from the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, one I wish like as part of that, and I just wrote it in the doc here as easy multiplayer invites.
Yeah.
Uh just sort of like coupled with that is like a better awareness of like what other people are doing on their Switch at that time. Like now you can see what app people are in or what game they're playing, and like really that's it. But if there was, just any like indicator of like not just that they're in the NES Online app, but that they're playing Super Mario Brothers 3, then you'd be like, oh, I want to play that with
Which
you.
you can see, but you have to go in like a second level.
You have to go. You can see it.
Yeah. So if like
I did not know that.
So if you're just looking at your friends, I think you'll just see like, oh, Mark is playing Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. But if you actually click into me, it'll say it'll show you that, but then it'll also say that like he's playing Metroid or something like that.
Yeah,
so
okay.
you can see it, but you have to go a level in.
Yes, but being able to invite people from the system level, I think, is a very good feature. Not on my list.
So there we go. So we'll
we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
I will also start with kind of a boring one. Some sort of meta reward system, like trophies on the PlayStation Network. The Wii U was so close to this with stamps. Yeah,
It is really weird that they didn't commit to it because it felt like
yes,
that's what the deal was.
That it felt like that's what the deal was, but they only did it on like a handful of games, like and like not even games of the same level, which is what's really confusing to me. Because like they're in NES Remix Volumes 1 and 2, and they're also in like Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario U. And the games like that, where it's like those are like the AAA like Nintendo releases, then also this like weird little side project. But like, and you can use them on Miiverse posts everywhere. Obviously, Miiverse is a thing of the past. I don't know if any of us are going to suggest a like social network as part of what we want here, but just a trophy system, some sort of reward like that, where you can just have, because like you think of the things that you do in Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, games that I haven't touched in 5 years, but loved my experiences with. I'd like to have some sort of like digital swag, being like, you beat Ganon, you took down the 4 divine beasts,
right?
Yeah. Like. I don't know, and it's so similar to what like Smash Brothers does already, and with what Amiibo already are, and it's like, why are we not just like connecting these last little dots here?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in some ways it's not super dissimilar to easy multiplayer invites, where it just feels like what Nintendo Switch Online needs is kind of like an overall mission or like direction, or
totally.
Like it needs like overarching systems that can be used across, or that like are expected to be used across whatever game you're playing, because since the Wii U era, Nintendo's, whenever they've been at, and it's been a long time since people even asked Nintendo about trophies, but like in the 360 era, when trophies and achievements were really like becoming a thing, and Nintendo didn't really have anything similar. The Nintendo has support inside games for that sort of system. So,
Right,
like
yes.
I played Portal and Portal 2 not that long ago, and there are in-game achievements that
Well,
are
right.
essentially, you know what I mean?
Any game that's going to appear on other platforms has them already.
Right.
And
But
then
there's just no
Nintendo does like their own thing within each game
but
too.
there's just no like and
There's
so
no
just
unifying.
like stamps where it was like, what they needed on the Wii U for stamps to be like a thing is for it to be like every game supports every first party title has stamps,
Right.
and you can access that information from a system level. You don't have to like go into each individual game
Yes.
to view it, and that I feel like is like has been missing from Nintendo's online efforts.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And that is the heart of this. And like with both what you said and what I've suggested so far, these are us being like, the basic bare bones of these other services. We want that. Like there are some parts of I love that Nintendo is weird and that they do their own thing and whatever. But there are some ways where it's like, no, these other guys figured it out. Like,
Right, and I felt like stamps were such a strong, and I mean they're still using stamps. They use stamps at Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not like stamps ever went away, but they just haven't.
Well, they did go away and then
That's
it came
right.
back.
Because
Yeah.
they're like it. I mean, it makes sense. I have always felt like stamps were the perfectly Nintendo take on like an achievements or trophy
Right.
system.
Because it still feels like arts and craftsy and just like a little different.
more fun
Yeah.
than like the competitive aspect of it. So yeah, I do think it is something that they could take from Sony and Microsoft and make it their own.
Yeah, agreed.
My next pick is limited time events inspired by the Satellaview experience. So what I think would be really fun, and I think we see this in Splatoon with like Splatfest, and when ARMS did their very similar things that I'm forgetting what those were called. But
Yep.
having just these like timed online experiences where I mean I guess in some ways Super Mario Brothers 35 was this sort of thing as well, where it's like, hey, for one weekend at like these different periods, this is your opportunity to go in and I don't know what it is. Play like NES Remix, play like some sort of experience.
Well, and this is something that we kind of talked about on Tuesday's episode, right? Of the thing that Nintendo is bringing to PAX East this year, right? Where it's like there are like multiple like discrete experiences
Nintendo
from
versus arcade.
Nintendo versus arcade, exactly. Mark, I also have like Satellaview / BS inspired things, not just inspired by them, but I'd like to just see
that would be fun.
Zelda BS.
So the Satellaview was Japanese only.
That's right. Warrants some explanation.
A Japanese only like add-on for the Super Nintendo, and it literally was like a satellite broadcast to systems that had this add-on where there was like a version of Legend of Zelda that was exclusive to the Satellaview and could only be played in the like 5-hour window or whatever that this broadcast was happening. And sometimes those broadcasts were so popular that they would play them multiple times.
Right.
But there's just something really cool about having these moments where it's like it's limited. So there puts like some sort of urgency on it to participate, and where it's like like everybody is participating, all your friends are participating. Having that kind of like collective gaming experience is really exciting.
Yeah, getting to have this like zeitgeisty moment of like, this is what we're all doing. It's like you said, it's the same kind of thing that a Splatfest taps into, where it's like, no, we're all gonna be focused on this, or like a big run, in Salmon Run, also in Splatoon 3. Yeah, and there are just so many of those like classic experiences on the Satellaview, like the Zelda BS that we just mentioned. But there was a Famicom Detective Club that was distributed that way. There's a Fire Emblem version of this. Just a bunch. There's a Dragon Quest that was a BS experience. I would love to. Like, I understand it would be a ton of work to like translate them and like administer them again and again and again. But like, that's a piece of Nintendo history that's just like locked behind being in Japan in like 1992.
Right,
You know,
yeah, uh-huh.
like outside of that very specific experience, no one else is going to be able to do that. So Mark, that is our first overlap. Which means I'll go with what may be our second overlap. Music player on your phone.
Oh yes, I have this one as well.
Okay, great. This is something that comes up for us, I think, all the time. That I love music players in games. I like that I can listen to whatever piece of music. Sometimes I don't even mind if I have to like unlock them first, like through the course of gameplay or finding records in Smash Brothers or whatever. But I always end up liking the music player in a video game conceptually more than actually, because I'm not going to like sit there in front of my Switch and just like listen to the music. I want that when I'm working or like driving or like out somewhere. So why do I not have a music player on my phone that is synced to my Nintendo account that knows what music I've unlocked so I can just play it from my phone?
Yeah, no, it would be amazing. It would be so good
Yeah.
if that became a thing. And I would use the Nintendo Switch Online mobile app all the time if that was a feature.
Also, it could be a separate app. It could be a separate app that I have to pay for. I don't think I'd mind.
Yeah.
I do. The one thing that I think I would require, though, for this feature to work is that every first-party game needs a music player.
Mm-hmm.
Just every single one. So, because like now, there's no music player in like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, for example, or like ARMS, right? And it's just like, okay, but I may want to hear that like ARMS music. Yeah, I can go to YouTube or whatever, but like, it'd be cool. You can make little playlists on your phone. Like,
yeah,
just
it would
be
be
the
very
best.
fun. It'd be very fun. That's a good one. My next one is another one that you know is table stakes from other systems, but I think the Nintendo Switch Online should have, and that's system level voice chat. I know that you can do it or like facsimile of it in the mobile app, but I just think that the Nintendo Switch Online should support voice chat. And if I see that Patrick is online, he and I should be able to connect through the Switch and talk, even if we're not in a game together. You know, if we're like just meeting up and deciding what game we want to play.
Yeah.
That just feels like something the Nintendo Switch should be able to do.
Which could also be like Discord integration or whatever. Like, because PlayStation just introduced that recently. Although it's my understanding it's not very good yet. So that's what we can expect from Nintendo as well. But like, wasn't there a time where people were able to chat natively in Fortnite on Switch, and they were like, "Oh no, take it away!" Like,
that does seem and maybe you still can. I can't I know because I know that there are games that like it's another one like just like stamps, like / trophies and like inviting friends where I believe that there are games that do have it, but there is no like system level, this is how all the developers integrate it. It's like, oh no, every developer is just like up to you if you want to do it and how it's supposed to work in your game.
Right.
It's just all different.
Right. And it should just be available on a system level. All right. I guess I will do another sort of table stakes with everybody else. I want a nice, easy spectator mode. I want to be able to see what my if as long as people are allowing it, I want to be able to just like look in. So Mark's playing Metroid Prime. Oh, I just want to like see where he is in it. I just want to be able to like pop in, and as long as he hasn't been like, no, this is private, I'm playing it by myself.
Yeah.
That we should just be able to like see what we're up to.
That would be very cool.
Which like, I one of the things that like one of the good like gaming memories I had from the like lockdown days of the pandemic was playing The Last of Us Part 2 with my buddy Andrew, and we would just do the share play on PlayStation 4 where I could just play and he could just watch on his PlayStation. And like it was easy to do. And there were even you could like hand off the controller. And these are things that you can do within the NSO classic game libraries, but you can't do on if I'm playing like Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, like you can't do that.
Yeah.
But and again, it's not available at the system level, which is what I would want.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
So spectator mode.
My next pick is I just want Virtual Boy games.
Yep.
Like that feels like a fun library to add, and I think you could actually. I don't know. I was going to say that the Virtual Boy could be added to the like expansion pack because that feels like it's for people who are all in.
That's for hardcore
you know,
fans.
But also like yeah, I guess that does feel right. That feels right. That
Yeah.
Virtual Boy would be something like that. I feel like
Yeah, I feel like you don't want casuals stumbling into the Virtual Boy library. Right?
Right.
You don't want someone being like, "Oh, Wario Land. I like Wario. What is this?"
Yeah.
There are what, like 20 Virtual Boy games, maybe fewer, something like that.
Something like that.
Or at least released in North America. And they're not all. There's only like 8 or 9 first party games.
Yeah.
But there are games from publishers like Atlas that I think they'd be able to get on there. The big bummer is that I don't think there's any world where they could get Waterworld on there. Which Waterworld's not a good game on Virtual Boy. Not a good game on really anything. Waterworld is not a good anything except for a stunt show at Universal Studios. But it's like for whatever reason just like a memorable part of that library. It's such a specific like point in time where it's like Waterworld spiked and Virtual Boy spiked at the same time, and it's like that's the only time that those two lines crossed on the grid.
Here's an unrelated question.
Yeah.
What is like the sound of a Virtual Boy? Like, do the soundtracks of Virtual Boy games sound good?
I think it's like, honestly, I don't remember. And I don't know that I've encountered much like Virtual Boy music on like playlists and stuff.
Right.
But I'm assuming it's very Game Boy like. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's got a richer sound chip. I don't know. Should I look something up while we keep talking?
Maybe we'll just have to do a like Virtual Boy radio episode in the future.
That's a great idea. Let's do that. Okay, Mark, again, I'm just going to keep like tagging off of what you're doing and just do like my own version of it. Because I'm going to go with a Game & Watch library.
Oh, fun.
And I think a Game & Watch library could be like a robust, cool, like museum piece of, less like the libraries that currently exist and more like here's what the physical objects look like.
I was thinking just the same exact thing when you said Virtual Boy, or sorry, not Virtual Boy, when you said the Game & Watch, like library. I would love for it to be like a Game & Watch museum almost. And we've seen this in collections of games from other publishers where it's not, like Castlevania. It's not just a collection of Castlevania games on a ROM. There's also like a museum with art and the design documents and all that kind of stuff and interviews.
And
from
recently
the designers.
that Atari 50 did this really well and like set up a sort of like a punch list of like here's like the history that got to this point, so then when you're playing some like crappy Atari game,
right,
it has like some sort of context that makes it meaningful. Ditto the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which collected like 13 games, like 4 of which are functionally like playable, but there's just so much context around it that it all feels very good and compelling and fun.
And it would just be so cool, like you're saying, to have this Game & Watch like library where you can see the Game & Watch system and like all that kind of stuff.
And like another part or another reason that that's all like so compelling to me is that like there are a lot of those games were like released, in like the gold or silver series, and then like re-released as like widescreen versions of themselves, or like the panoramas, which are like the ones that you stuck your face in, or like the watch versions of the Zelda game, and it's just like there's so many different versions, and you could just present them all, And so you could like spin the physical objects around and like open the ones that open and close. But also if you could like play the games on them, like spin them around, position them in a way you want, and then like play the game on it live, like it would just be
That'd
so
be cool.
Also, because this is a fantasy thing that we're doing, I'm gonna say every licensed game gets in here. I want to see Mickey Mouse. I want to see Mickey and Donald. I want to see Snoopy Tennis. I want to see Popeye,
Yeah,
Mark.
that would be great. That really would be great. So I think my final pick
Yep.
is a GameCube library. And we have talked about in the Discord, maybe on this show, I can't remember, maybe just in real life, about why it's unlikely the GameCube games would come to Nintendo Switch Online. And I think some of it is just file size, right? Like once we
Absolutely.
once we get to the GameCube era, you're tipping into the size of games that it doesn't really make sense to download 30 of them to your system
Right.
in the way that you can for like the NES library or even like the Nintendo 64 library. But as I was thinking about this, it's like, why does it have to work that way? Why couldn't
Just because it always has.
yeah, why couldn't like the GameCube library work like how you can download things from Netflix or Hulu or YouTube?
Yep.
Where you have access to all of them, and then you select. I mean, you can download as many as you want to your system at a time. And if your subscription expires, they're still checking every week to see if you still have access to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
So
well,
it's
just that like the NES games are downloaded to your library now, so they're downloaded, they're physically there. You're not streaming anything. But it would be cool if like part of the solution there is that like you can play a cloud version or you can just download it.
Download it to your
Yeah.
system. And I think even if like the cloud version didn't exist and you had to
Yeah.
just choose a game or multiple games, as many as you wanted to fit on your system, to download at a time and have
Yeah.
on there, that seems like a perfectly viable solution.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
wonder-
but
I wonder
would
if
love to
they-
see GameCube games.
I wonder if they ever will move to that, just like because there are almost 200 games on these collective libraries at this point. Like, it doesn't take up no space to have all 6 of those libraries downloaded.
I think it's pretty
I
close
think-
though.
Well, that's true, because the Game Boy library and the NES library are virtually nothing.
Yeah.
Like they fit on a floppy disk.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to nothing at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, GameCube games definitely like a dream. I don't know that we'll ever see something like that soon, but I would definitely love to.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. Reach for the stars. There's no reason that the retro game libraries have to be ultra retro. They can just be like, 22 years ago when the GameCube came out. Mark, for my final pick, Super Nintendo World integration. I want the power-up band that I bought at Universal Studios, the little profile that I made on the Universal Hollywood app, and all of my game progress, or all of my like park progress. I want that to interact with my Nintendo account, and be something that I can interact with through games on my Switch. And I don't know exactly what that is, but I want to be able to, use some of you earn power-ups at Super Nintendo World, right? And they just show up as like little stickers in your collection. But like if I'm playing Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, why can't I use that acorn mushroom and turn myself into a flying squirrel? Why can't I? I earned it. And then like, do you see what I'm saying? That there's no the two experiences of like playing a Mario game on your Switch and going to Super Nintendo World are so similar, but they just don't talk to each other at all.
Yeah, it does feel like in general what the Nintendo Switch Online needs to be is like the nexus of your Nintendo existence. Like you were talking about earlier
Yes.
with Pikmin Bloom, like your Pikmin Bloom like account and user ID and all that kind of stuff is completely like that Pikmin Bloom account and your Nintendo account are probably connected, but there's no like connectivity.
Right. There's no functional connection.
Yeah.
I can't even like import my friends from another platform into Pikmin Bloom or the other way around.
Yeah, and that's just with like Super Nintendo World, it just feels like like all of that should be feeding into one Nintendo Switch Online account.
Yeah.
That is like the nexus of your like Nintendo digital life.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. This is not one of my picks because we are done now adding picks. But I'm since I'm gamifying all of my exercise or like physical activity. This morning it was raining and I couldn't go for a walk with Pikmin, so I did Ring Fit Adventure, which is a great good way to get myself moving. It's a little weird that the like two physical activity things that I'm doing are both Nintendo products that don't talk to each other at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would even want, other than just like the the trainer at the beginning of Ring Fit to be like, you've been walking a lot lately, or just to like get a medal in Pikmin or some experience points when I like beat a world in Ring Fit Adventure or something, anything.
Yeah.
Some sort of acknowledgement that like, oh yeah, you're doing good. Let's keep doing good together. All right, Mark. So we have added now 10 features to select for our Nintendo Switch Online for our individual libraries. Should we go through just what we've added and then we can start drafting?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So easy multiplayer invites,
Achievements / trophies,
limited time events based on the Satellaview /BS experience,
music player,
system level voice chat / Discord integration,
a spectator mode,
Virtual Boy library,
Game & Watch library,
GameCube library,
and Super Nintendo World integration.
Man, those are all great. I hope they all happen. And then there are, of course, all of the other features that we already went through. Mark, do you agree to making online play table stakes?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
We both get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So how should we decide who goes first? And I know there are only two of us, but should we do like snake style drafting? So like there's the first pick, and then like if I go first, then you pick two, and then I pick two.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Why don't you?
We can flip my wallet like a coin.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so heads will be the driver's license side. The American Express is the tail side. Okay, call it in the air.
All right, heads.
It is heads.
All right. So I will go first with the first pick in the NSO draft.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Mitchell chooses. What am I gonna take? I think
lot of good pieces on the board here.
Yeah, I mean, the number one pick. This is a lot of. Usually, you have like weeks to come up with the perfect draft strategy. I am going to say
we came up with this idea like 3 weeks ago.
I am gonna say, ooh, this is agonizing. I hope this isn't like a draft bust, but I'm gonna say it's so boring. I'm gonna say Cloud Saves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark Mitchell taking Cloud Saves
as the number one pick.
As the number one pick.
I just feel like you gotta have it.
You do sort of gotta have it, just because. I mean, you could still do a system transfer without Cloud Saves, right?
Yeah. Maybe. Probably. You must. You must be able to.
You simply must be able to. But okay, that's the first pick. Mark Mitchell picks Cloud Saves.
I'm already regretting it. The Mitch Trubisky of NSO drafts.
I don't know what that means. I got to be true to myself. My first pick is, of course, Tetris 99.
Oh yeah, bring it home.
I mean, it's how's it not going to be Tetris 99?
Are we going to draft all of them, or are we just doing like 5?
Oh, that's a great question. What would you like to do? Would you like to draft them all, or you want to do like more than 5 because we each added 5?
Yeah, you're right.
So let's do 10.
Okay, good.
10's a lot, but
I was going to tip my hands. No, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Now I go again.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you cool it, cool it, buddy. All right. So now, I'm going to draft the Super NES library.
Sad to see that one off the board, but a strong pick.
Thank you. There are just too many classics in there.
Yeah.
I like all of the classic libraries, maybe the exception of the Sega Genesis, where I think like there are like 2 or 3 games I even would ever want to play. But the Super NES is just packed with games that are like legendary. So
Okay, for my
Now Mark Mitchell gets back-to-back picks
yeah,
here.
that's right.
Okay.
Okay, so for my second pick,
Yeah.
I am going to take um. Ooh, this is hard.
Yeah, I mean, what
This
what
is
what are you
stressing me
thinking?
out.
Are you thinking like a game library, or are
Well,
there
that's the thing. Like I don't want to miss out
right?
on game libraries, but at the same time, I'm also just trying to think like, what is the most important to me?
Right. Well, let's hold on. Where you make one pick, and then we'll both have two at this point, and
Uh-huh.
then I want to introduce a new concept.
Oh no. Oh, what? All right. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Nintendo 64 library. I'm gonna do it. I'm committing.
Perfect. Okay, so the new concept I'm introducing between your second and third picks are obviously we are picking libraries or we are picking Nintendo Switch Online things for ourselves. But I say we then go to the Discord and put the two systems up against each other in a poll, and people can vote on which one they think is better.
Okay.
Okay.
Um.
So now you're not just playing for yourself; you are playing for the
people.
You're playing for the people, winning hearts and minds. Mark Mitchell with his pick number 3.
I'm gonna say the DLC packs.
That's a great pick. That is a great pick. Man, the amount of time that Sarah and I put into Happy Home Paradise, the Animal Crossing expansion, that in and of itself worth the price of the Nintendo Switch Online and the expansion pass. And then the Mario Kart, man.
Yeah, and I would have bought that anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so now I get back-to-back picks.
Yeah. So really, we're just doing like 2 picks at a time.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, we can stop if you don't like doing the back-to-back
it's
picks.
just funny.
Okay, it is funny. You're right. I'm going to pick.
My palms are sweating.
I know. Me too. It's kind of warm in here too. I will go with just because I think it's going to make everything better. Every game you play is going to be a little bit better with achievements or trophies.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take those. I just, especially if there's some sort of like Nintendo-y twist to it, like a stamp or whatever.
Right.
There are just so many cool things in the classic game libraries, of which I only have access to one at the moment. But every new game, they all have that stuff. Like it just brings them into parity with everyone else. For my second pick here, I'm going to go with the.
It's hard.
This is so hard.
It's really hard.
All right. Mark, with my fourth pick, I am picking the music player.
Oh, that was
I'm
gonna be my
picking
next
the
pick.
music player.
Oh. All right, I'm scrambling now. Scrambling. Okay, well,
Right.
I need to have a system that I can play Mario on, like Mario 3.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the NES library.
Could have also picked the Game Boy Advance library.
Yeah,
but
but
yes.
I don't want that version. And then I think the other one,
Mark Mitchell's fifth pick.
the other one I'm gonna take is, Oh,
This is
man.
so tough. This is so tough.
It should not be this hard, and yet I think adding the wrinkle of having people like vote on it has just added like another
I
level
got in your
of
head.
stress. Yeah, you did. You're playing the game.
Mhm, that's right. This is what happens, Mark.
Okay, so I am going to pick. Do you know what? I'm gonna do it. GameCube library.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've come out strong, snatching up these libraries, which is, I think, a powerful play. Like, I'm already on my back foot here. That the remaining libraries are, I mean, to date, either the very new ones or like the most inferior of them. And then, of course, the ones that we've been adding in our sort of like fantasy here. GameCube library. That's a great pick, Mark. That was your fifth pick. Now for my fifth and sixth picks, I will take the. I'm going to take the look. It's a grower, not a shower. The Game Boy Advance library.
That's a good one.
And I realized I'm maybe starting to get a little redundant with the Super NES, and that they're both like kind of the same vibe. But there's so many great games still
when
out
it's good,
there.
it's good.
When it's good, it's good. So that's that's where I'm going to land on that. And then for my sixth pick, I'm just very excited about what the Game Boy Advance library is going to like.
Be,
because it better not let me down. Okay. And then my sixth pick is going to be.
Should we introduce like a draft clock like they have?
Oh, geez.
Where it's like we have 10 seconds to make our picks. Add more pressure, really crank up the heat.
I'm gonna freak out here already. Can I tell you like a conundrum that I'm dealing with?
Yeah, please.
I was thinking about grabbing these special physical offers, aka the controllers. Even though the only library I have right now that actually uses them is the Super NES. That's a good controller and I like using it. But I feel like its real like sister pick here is the Nintendo 64. So like I love having the physical controllers. I've bought one of each of all of them. So I feel like it's not true to me to not pick that. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick the special physical offers, the controllers, as my sixth pick.
You know, one thing I think is interesting about our pick so far is that we have skewed really heavily to the existing features.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, of the fantasy features, we've drafted the achievements and trophies, the music player, which I mean, one of us was 100% going to do that.
Yeah.
And the GameCube library. So of 11 picks so far, we've only done 3 of the make-believe ones.
So my next pick, I'm going to go ahead and
Mark Mitchell's 6th pick.
I'm going to go
is that right?
I
think it is. I think you go 6, 7, then I go 7, 8, then you go 8, 9, and then I go 9, 10, and then you go 10. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to do special offers. So like vouchers, Super Mario 35, RIP, SMB, in-game rewards, rewards and missions, and game trials.
Can you tell me why you went for that one?
I feel like it's a good like value pick. You get like a lot of bang for the buck in a single pick.
Kind of literally, in that you get you can get that Tears of the Kingdom for $50 instead of $70.
You know, I feel like it's almost like the companion to the DLC packs, where there's I'm really, and look, I could be totally misreading the room, but I'm really now I'm really aiming for that like Discord audience. You know what I mean?
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, get a little something for everybody with the special offer. So that's one pick.
That's Mark's 6th pick.
And my 7th pick. I'm gonna do it. I really do want easy multiplayer invites. That is something that I think would really improve the experience for me.
And now my 7th and 8th picks. I'm going to go.
Can you imagine if online play was not table stakes?
Did you see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. For my 7th pick, I'm going to get that Game & Watch library. Again, this is a being true to me scenario here. I want a library like that so badly, and just like a museum piece like that so badly. So I'm taking it. All right. Now looking back over the features that currently exist on the Nintendo Switch Online that we have not drafted yet, include the Nintendo Switch Online app, which I think is just going to sit there. Pac-Man 99, which I think is just going to sit there.
Sit there too. I forget the Pac-Man 99.
I know, me
too.
And
is like a thing.
We got the Game Boy library, which again, a grower. The Sega Genesis library, and that's it. Those are the 4 existing features that we have not yet been picked. My gut says grab the Game Boy library, but I don't want to. I feel like that's resting too much in the past. I'm going to go for the future, Mark. Super Nintendo World integration.
Oh, a lot of potential there.
A lot of potential there.
Especially if it is like, you know, the door to a lot of the other stuff we were talking about. Like, what if you went and saw the Mario movie and that, you know, you like scan your ticket somehow into app or it knows. You know what I mean? Like it
Yes,
just feels like
absolutely.
that sort of integration could be incredibly powerful and cool in the future.
And then you get to play as like Fire Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. You know, like
Yeah.
I mean that's a huge ask, but something, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Mark
you have one
Mitchell's
more
eighth.
pick? Or did you do two?
I did two. I did the I did two. I know that.
Did you do the Game and Watch library?
Yes, that's right.
And
the Super Nintendo World
Okay.
integration.
Well, I am gonna go ahead and do the Game Boy game library. That is going to be one of my picks.
Mark Mitchell's eighth pick.
And I think the other pick, I am going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to do the Nintendo Switch Online app.
Whoa!
And this is one that I just have to believe.
You
that
think it's a grower?
I'm not even sure that that's true. I just have to believe that there are people that like, if you're really into Splatoon 3, if you were really into Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, you're maybe utilizing it heavily or more heavily, just in a way that like I never have. But I just have to believe there's a reason Nintendo keeps supporting it, and that's that outside of my own experience, there is value there.
Okay. A good pick. Do you want to talk at all about the Game Boy library?
The reason I picked the Game Boy library is because I agree with you that I think it is something that's going to grow over time, and that there are a lot of cool Game Boy games that are not yet on there that I hope make it someday.
All right, cool. So for now, these are my final picks, my 9th and 10th picks.
Oh, wow.
And then you get to make the final pick. Okay. I am going to take the limited time events / Satellaview / BS things. Again, kind of a living in the past pick, but it's a living in the past that we never got to experience. So that's I'm gonna take that.
And I really do think that could be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Because, like, you and I get really excited for a Tetris Maximus Cup.
Which there is one this weekend.
I know.
There's a Fire Emblem Engage Tetris Maximus Cup.
So Tetris Maximus Cup, they're just fun reasons to go back into games that you already own. But I think there could be something incredibly cool where it's like, hey, we're giving you a new experience for a limited time.
Which leads me then to my final pick. And Mark, I want to just like share, like this is like a peek inside my mind here. I sort of want to grab that Virtual Boy library, but I'm afraid it is too much like me in the same way that the Game & Watch library is. Like I feel like I'm being too Patrick Brandy here in picking that one.
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think the Patrick Way of Life could be a very popular brand.
That is true. That is true. And I think Virtual Boy games aren't games that people have been able to experience.
No, and people just need Nestor's Funky Bowling in their life. It's a love language unto itself.
That is patently false. I think I'm going to leave it on the I'm going to
leave it on the board.
I'm going to leave it on the board. I'm going to leave it on the board, and I'm going to rescue the Genesis library, especially because I'll be able to buy the controller, the Genesis controller for it. So that's like the best, most fun way to play those games is with the right controller. So that rounds out my Nintendo Switch Online. Mark, you get the final pick here, and then we'll have to try and figure out a way to talk about what our libraries are.
I think, just want to say Sega Genesis, I think a good pick. Let's see. I'm gonna go with system level voice chat or some sort of system level voice chat.
Yeah,
I would want that. I think that would improve the system. And
that's it.
Oh, that's my last pick.
Yeah, that's your 10th and final pick. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I feel good about that.
So here are the features that we did not draft: the Virtual Boy library, and spectator mode. So neither of those got drafted. Also, Pac-Man 99 didn't get drafted, but otherwise everything else as part of
Wow.
the existing Nintendo Switch Online was drafted by someone. So, Mark, do you want to run down your
Yeah,
service?
sure. Okay, so
First of all, online play.
yeah, that's right. Online play.
Mhm.
My Nintendo Switch Online service offers online play, cloud saves, the Nintendo Switch Online app and all of its functionality, including Splatnet, Splatnet 3, etc., and so forth. Special offers like vouchers, RIP SMB, in-game rewards, and missions and rewards and game trials. And then the NES library, the Game Boy library, the Nintendo 64 library.
That's impressive there, Mark.
DLC packs,
Mm-hmm.
easy multiplayer invites, a system level voice chat, and the GameCube library.
Okay.
So game heavy. I didn't really realize that.
Yeah,
but
game heavy.
Skewing game library heavy.
Okay, which leads us then to my Nintendo Switch Online, which features
Online play.
Tetris 99, special physical offers, so controllers, the Super NES library, the Sega Genesis library, the Game Boy Advance library, an achievement/trophy system-wide, limited time events based on Satellaview / BS sort of stuff, a music player on
Killer
your
app
phone, thank
right
you,
there.
the Game & Watch library / museum, and Super Nintendo World integration.
I think that's a really strong one as well. I do like that you have like that 16-bit like SNES library,
Yeah.
Sega Genesis library, and Game Boy Advance library, which not 16-bit but had a lot of like Super.
It's got a
Nintendo
lot of the
feel.
same DNA.
Yeah.
And then I also have like the and then like the ancient history of the Game & Watch library / museum in there, and then the super new with the Nintendo World.
Yeah, and what that
integration.
could open up in the future. Yeah, I think that both very strong possibilities.
I think we both have great libraries. We're putting it to the Discord. We're pitting them head to head. Which one's better, Mark or Patrick? All right, let's close this out. And of course, if there are any features that you wish would have been part of a Nintendo Switch online service draft, you can always email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com or get in that Discord and argue about it with everyone in there. I think this will generate some good conversations. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. We want to thank our 16-bit patron, Connor McCabe. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon at the 16-bit level. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MK Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. We also have a Discord. Email us. We'll let you in. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.